tied on her pigtails and was wearing purple sneakers. Benny handed the flashlight to Henry.
"This is called a black light," said Henry. "Black lights can show things that are fluorescent."
"What in the world does that mean?"
asked Violet.
"Things that are fluorescent absorb ultraviolet light," said Jessie. "It makes them glow." "So some things might glow if we point the black light at them?"
asked Violet.
"That's right," said Henry. "Benny, reach back in there. Maybe there's a clue about the black light."
Benny sighed and reached into the skull's mouth once more. This time he pulled out a folded piece of paper and handed it to Jessie. Henry lowered him to the floor.
"That was very brave," said Jessie. "Because you faced your fears, we found 2 clues to help us get out of here."
"Fears?"
said Benny, blushing.
"I wasn't afraid. I didn't want to upset the cobwebs."
Jessie smiled at her little brother. She quickly unfolded the paper and handed it to him.
"Well, either way, you get to tell us what the next clue says."
Benny sounded out the words on the page.
"I'm like a garden of blossoms bright that only blooms in dark of night."
"I wonder what that could be,"
said Violet. The Aldens shined their lights around the room, and Henry started listing what he saw.
"There are books, an old lamp, a desk, a vase."
"A coffin,"
said Benny, turning back to the big box in the corner.
"And there's probably a skeleton inside of that."
"Oh, Benny, don't let your imagination get the best of you," said Jessie. "It's just for show. There's nothing inside."
Jessie knocked on the box to prove that it was hollow, but Benny still wasn't so sure.
"I have an idea," said Violet. "What if the answer is flowers?"
"Good thinking, Violet," said Henry. "Let's turn off our flashlights and see if the flowers in the vase shine in the black light."
Benny was still eyeing the coffin in the corner of the room.
"Are you sure we have to turn off our lights?" he said. "Maybe it's not the flowers after all."
"It'll be fine," said Jessie.
She grabbed Benny's hand, and all the children shut off their lights. Henry held up the black light to the vase.
"It's all dark," Violet frowned. "No bright blooms anywhere."
"Maybe we should turn our flashlights back on and think some more,"
said Benny.
"Let's look around the room first," said Jessie, squeezing Benny's hand. "According to the clue, something should be glowing." The children looked all around. Violet was the first to look up. "There are stars on the ceiling," she said.
Sure enough, with the black light, the ceiling was glowing like the night sky.
"A garden that blooms at night. Stars," said Jessie. "Good eyes, Violet."
Henry panned the light across the ceiling.
"They must be made of some kind of special paint," he said.
"We need to figure out what the clue means," said Jessie. "We only have a few minutes before we're stuck in here."
Henry studied the glowing stars. With his finger, he traced the shape that the brightest one made.
"It's like a constellation," he said.
"What's that?"
asked Benny. "A constellation is a shape made by the brightest stars," Jessie explained.
Benny tilted his head.
"Oh, I see. It looks like the letter T."
"Does that mean we need to look for something that starts with that letter?"
asked Violet. She studied the room.
T could stand for table, tray, teacup, typewriter. Now that I think of it, there are a lot of things that start with T.
Henry squinted at the shape.
"I don't think it's a T. I think it's an arrow."
Benny clicked on his light and guided it along the arrow and across the room. The beam came to rest on the coffin in the corner.
"I knew there was something in there,"
he said. Benny stepped behind Jessie. The other children turned on their flashlights and pointed them at the wooden box. Slowly, Henry walked over. As he pulled on the cover, the hinges gave an eerie creak. Finally, Henry yanked open the cover and shined his flashlight inside.
"There's nothing here,"
he said.
"See, Benny? Nothing to worry about," said Jessie. "Except we need to figure out how to get out of here," said Violet. "We don't have much time left."
Henry, Jessie, and Violet searched around the old coffin. The inside was smooth and lined with silk. Henry felt along the edges.
"I don't feel anything hidden inside," he said.
"Maybe we misread the clue," said Jessie.
Benny was still standing away from the coffin.